not coming out with. Really lost track of everything, so I apologize for not coming out with. And the audio for X sounds good. Create a broadcast. Post it for WWOW Talk. For X sounds good. Create a broadcast. Live stream. Post it. WWOW Talk. So that's posted and good to go. Testing the audio. Kick sounds good. Posted and good to go. Kick sounds good. Let me get started on Rumble. Now I believe Rumble is up and going. I'm not sure. Yes, it should be. Kick sounds. Alright, Rumble's up and going. Twitch is up and going. Now I have to make sure YouTube is on. So yeah, YouTube's going. Get started. Now, even like today, I'm like 13 minutes past the hour. Like before, I'm not going to open up Skype. If you guys want to leave a chat and I see somebody in the chat and they're interested in coming on, that's fine. But I've noticed that nobody's really participating on Skype to come in and be a part of it, of the conversation. So today I'm just going to get the stream going. Now, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down a little bit of a direction that I have basically been I've been inspired to go down because this is good stuff that I want to discuss. Today is going to be about the world tree. I'm also going to be talking about I'm going to be talking a lot about like the Aryan Indo-European legends and myths and stuff, like the Axis Mundi and Igig Iroquois, or however you want to say that. Then they have one called the Yogdrasen. That is a pretty good one. Now I think I covered Turo, but I'm not sure. It's about the falcon, and it's a Hungarian folklore, which is some of the more deeper Indo-European folklore that actually mingled into Christianity. So I finally got all of the streams going and it's ready to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step away for a second, go get me some coffee, and after that I am also going to smoke a cigarette real quick because, like I said, I am running late, so I might as well just say the heck with it and do it upright before I get started. I'm going to put on some music so that you guys can have something to listen to while I'm stepping away. Now, give me a second and I will be back with it. So just give me a second real quick. And I want to set up an image too so that you guys can actually see something while I'm not here.
In the stars, legends awaken. Feel like fire, spirits forsaken. Lightning strikes, must be unite.
I'll be back.
Let every god take flight.
Okay, I think I pretty much got everything organized and ready to go. I am going to get this started here in a second, and we will be ready to get it started. So I got my coffee, did a quick smoke. Like I said, I'm running a little bit late and trying to get everything organized, but I have gotten it organized. I love to say that I had everything organized well, but I can't really say that. So before I get started, I do want to get my name, or the name for the show, put up on top of there. So let me go ahead and get that taken care of. There we go. Yeah, I've got to switch that around to WWOW Talk, and then put it up on my stream for everything else. It's already up on Twitch, but I haven't got it on the other ones yet. There it is. So now I am ready, and I will do my countdown and get everything started and ready to go. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, now. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of WWOW Talk. I am Roger Hanson, and today I'm going to continue where I left off previously. Now, I ended up talking about the Dyatlov incident which happened in Russia, and I got interested in the indigenous culture that was involved in the investigation. So that kind of got me interested in wanting to dig deeper into that subject. Besides that, I'd have been doing Mount Fuji and going over some of Mount Fuji on Strange Stories. So that kind of helped out with that too. So what I wanted to do is really get into the topics that are involved in some of this stuff. Now, I also have been kind of bouncing around on some stuff that involves Indo-European languages. So that kind of blends into this, and it has a lot to do with the folklore and the mythologies, or the myths, behind a lot of these cultures and civilizations. This is more of like the Germanic, Romanian, and the Vikings, I guess you could say it, the Scandinavian myths, and how they are all connected. And that's kind of what the Indo-European language is all about. They all basically come from the same roots. So that's what this is basically, the topic is going to be about for WWOW Talk. I was trying my best to maybe fit this stuff into places that I felt would be really more comfortable for me to do it, but I decided to just go ahead and keep it on WWOW Talk and have this discussion, because I don't really want to add a lot of this into WWOW Talk as much as or not WWOW Talk, but ancient mysteries, because for me, I like to do ancient history, and I don't really consider this as ancient history as much, because I'm more into, and this isn't the way a lot of people believe, but for me, I just feel this way. Like, ancient history for me is before the ADE, the Common Era. So I usually consider ancient history in the BCE, so I don't know. That's just the way I've felt about it. I think I've mentioned that before on a previous episode when I was discussing this. So what I wanted to do is just go ahead and leave this on WWOW Talk and go from there, you know. I hope you guys do enjoy it. Like I said, this is stuff that I get really excited about. I do enjoy having the conversation that I'm about to have. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with the world tree. Now, there's don't mistake this for the tree of life, which a lot of people are aware of. The world tree is completely separate than that. The world of tree is a motif, and it's present in several religions and mythologies, particularly the Indo-European, Siberian, and Native American religions. The world tree is represented as a colossal tree which supports the heavens, thereby connecting the heavens, the terrestrial world, and through its roots, the underworld. It may also be strongly connected to the motif of the tree of life, but they are two separate things. So let me point that out and make sure everybody understands they are two separate things. But it is the source of wisdom of the ages. That's basically what it is. Now, specific world trees include Irofa in Hungarian mythology, Agak Ana in Turkic mythology, and then you have Kanek Kar in Armenian mythology. Now, Munin in Mongol mythology, Yggdrasil in Norse mythology, and Irminsul in Germanic mythology. The oak is Slavic, Finnish, and Baltic. Janmu, that's Chinese. It's in Chinese mythology and in Hindu mythology. The Ashvatha is a Ficus religiosa or religiosa. It's a Ficus religiosa. Now, Ficus religiosa or sacred fig is a species of fig native to the Indian subcontinent and Indochina that belongs to Myracea, the fig or mulberry family. It is also known as the Bodhi tree or the peepul tree, peepul tree. The sacred fig is considered to have religious is considered to have religious significance in four major religions that originated on the Indian subcontinent. And that's Hinduism, Buddhism, Sakyaism, and Jainism. Hindu and Jain ascetics consider the species to be sacred and often meditate under it. Gautama Buddha is believed to have obtained enlightenment under the tree of this species. The sacred fig is the state tree of the Indian states of Odisha, Bihar, and Haryana. And you gotta excuse my language or my words. I'm not really good with being able to pronounce these words properly, so you gotta excuse me. Now, scholarship states that many Eurasian mythologies share the motif of the world tree, cosmic tree, or eagle and serpent tree. More specifically, it shows up in Haitian, Finnish, Lithuanian, Hungarian, Indian, Chinese, Japanese, Norse, Siberian, and Northern Asian shamanic folklore. The world tree is often identified with the tree of life and also fulfills the role of an axis mundi that is the center or axis of the world. It is also located at the center of the world and axis of the world. It is located at the center of the world and represents order and harmony of the cosmos. According to Loretta Sencuti, each part of the tree corresponds to one of the three spheres of the world. The treetops, heavens, the trunk is the middle world, or the earth roots is the underworld. Middle world or earth is what it is, and then the roots is the underworld, and is also associated with the classical element, which is top part fire, middle part earth, soil, ground, bottom part water. Its branches are said to reach the skies, and its roots to connect the human or earthly world with the underworld or subterranean realm. Because of this, the tree was worshipped as a mediator between the heavens and earth. On the treetops are located the luminaries, the stars, the heavenly bodies, along with the eagle's nest. Several species of birds perched among its branches. Humans and animals of every kind live under its branches, and near the roots is the dwelling place of snakes and every sort of reptiles. The imagery of the world tree is sometimes associated with conferring immortality, either by a fruit that grows on it or by a spring source located nearby. As George Leechler also pointed out, in some descriptions of this water of life may also flow the roots of the tree. According to Vladimir Toporov, animal species are commonly distributed along the parts of the tree between its roots. Figure chthonic animals such as snakes and frogs, but he also mentions aquatic animals such as otters, beavers, and fishes, as well as dragons. The middle part of the tree is reserved for hoofed animals such as deer or elk, sometimes bees, and on the topmost part perches the principal bird, or a pair of birds set on either side of the tree crown. The bird perches atop its foliage, often a winged mythical creature that represents a heavenly realm. The eagle seems to be the most frequent bird, fulfilling the role of a creator or weather deity. Its antipode is a snake or serpent creature that crawls between the tree's roots, being a symbol of the underworld. The world tree has also been compared to a world pillar that appears on other traditions and functions as separator between the earth and the skies, upholding the latter. Another representative akin to the world tree is a separate world mountain. However, in some stories, the world tree is located atop of the world mountain in a combination of both motifs. A conflict between serpent creatures and giant birds, an eagle usually, occurs in Eurasian mythologies. A hero kills the serpent that menaces a nest of little birds, and their mother repays the favor. A motif comparatively Julian day who dates to the Paleolithic. A parallel story is attested in the traditions of indigenous peoples of America, where the thunderbird is slotted into the role of the giant bird whose nest is menaced by a snake-like water monster. Romanian historian of religion Marcel Iliad is in his monumental work Shamanism, Archaic Techniques of Ecstasy, suggests that the world tree was an important element in shamanism worldwide. Also, according to him, the giant bird hatches shamans in the branches of the world tree. Likewise, Roald Knudsen indicates the presence of the motif in Altaic shamanism. Representations of the world tree are reported to be portrayed in drums used as Siberian shamanistic practices. Some aspects of birds like the eagle, the raven, the crane, loon, and lurk are revered as mediators between worlds and also connected to the imagery of the world tree. Another line of scholarship points to a recurring theme of the owl as the mediator to the upper realm, and its counterpart, the snake, as the mediator to the lower realms of the cosmos. Researcher Kristen Pearson mentions Northern Eurasian and Central Asian traditions, wherein the world tree is also associated with the horse and with deer antlers, which might resemble tree branches. Now, Mircea Eliade proposes that the typical imagery of the world tree, bird at the top, snake at the root, is presumably an Oriental origin. Likewise, Roald Knudsen indicates a possible origin of the motif in Central Asia and later diffusion into other regions and cultures. Now, Central Asia, I would possibly go with. I would go more with the Sumerians because they've actually got a myth of a bird that's on top of the tree and a snake that's on the bottom of the tree. It's very, very interesting. So that is something that is something that's worth mentioning. It's actually pretty noteworthy. So what I want to do is I want to actually stop there when it comes to the world tree, and I want to focus on this Axis Monday and kind of get into that, because that is something that is very, very important when it comes to this subject. Now, with that, I'm going to just get into it now. Now, the Axis Monday. In astronomy, Axis Mundi is the Latin term for axis of Earth between the celestial poles. In a geocentric coordinate system, this is the axis of rotation of the celestial sphere. Consequently, in ancient Greco-Roman astronomy, the axis Mundi is the axis of rotation of the planetary spheres within the classic geocentric model of the cosmos. In the 20th century comparative mythology, the term axis Mundi is also called the cosmic axis or world axis, the world pillar, center of the world, or a world tree, and it has been greatly extended to refer to any mythological concept representing the connection between heaven and earth, or the higher and lower realms. Mircea Eliade introduced the concept in the 1950s. Axis Mundi closely relates to the mythological concept of the Ophelos, or the navel of the world or cosmos. Items adduced as examples of the axis Mundi by comparative mythologists include plants, notably a tree, but also other types of plants such as a vine or stalk. a mountain, a column of smoke or fire, or a product of human manufacture, such as a staff, a tower, a ladder, a staircase, a maypole, a cross, a steeple, a rope, a totem pole, a pillar, or a spire. Its proximity to heaven may carry implications that are chiefly religious: pagoda, temple, mount, minaret, church, or secular, the obelisk, a lighthouse, a rocket, skyscraper. The image appears in religious and secular contexts. The Axis Mundi symbol may be found in cultures utilizing shamanic practices or animistic belief systems, in major world religions, and in technologically advanced urban centers. In Mircea Eliade's opinion, every microcosm, every inhabited region has a center, that is to say, a place that is sacred above all. Specific examples of cosmic mountains or centers include one from Egyptian text described as providing support for the sky, Mount Mashu from the Epic of Gilgamesh, Adam's Peak, which is a sacred mountain in Sri Lanka associated with Adam or Buddha in Islamic and Buddhist tradition, respectively. Mount Qaf in other Islamic and Arabic cosmologies. The mountain Hara Berez in Zoroastrian cosmology. Mount Meru in Hindu, Jain, and Buddhist cosmologies. Mecca as a cosmic center in Sufi cosmology, with minority traditions placing it as Medina or Jerusalem. And in Tenriko, the Jaba at the Tenriko Church headquarters in Tenri, Nara, Japan. In pre-Islamic Arabia, some central temples include the Temple of Awam, where some central temples, including the Temple of Awam, were cosmic centers. There are multiple interpretations about the origin of the concept of the Axis Mundi. In psychological and sociological interpretation, suggests that the symbol originates in a natural and universal psychological perception, i.e., that the particular spot that one occupies stands at the center of the world. This space serves as a microcosm in order because it is known and settled. Outside the boundaries of the microcosm lies foreign realms that, because they are unfamiliar or not ordered, represents chaos, death, or night. From the center, one may still venture in any of the four cardinal directions, make discoveries, and establish new centers as new realms become known and settled. The name of China, meaning middle nation, is often interpreted as an expression of the ancient perception of the Chinese polity, or group of polities, occupied the center of the world, with other lands lying in various directions relative to it. A second interpretation suggests that ancient symbols such as the Axis Mundi lie in a particular philosophical or metaphysical representation of a common and culturally shared philosophical concept, which is that of a natural reflection of the microcosm, or existence at grand scale. In the microcosm, which consists of either an individual, a community, or local environment that shares the same principles and structures as the microcosm. In this metaphysical representation of the universe, mankind is placed into an existence that serves as a microcosm of the universe, or the entire cosmos existence, and who, in order to achieve higher states of existence or liberation into the microcosm, must gain necessary insights into universal principles that can be represented by his life or environment in the microcosm. In many religious and philosophical traditions around the world, mankind is seen as a sort of bridge between either two worlds, the earth and the heaven, as in Hindi and Taoism, philosophical and theosophical systems, or three worlds, namely the earth, heavenly, and the sub-earthly or infra-earthly, e.g. the underworld, as in the ancient Greek, Incan, Mayan, and ancient Egyptian religious systems. Spanning these philosophical systems is the belief that man traverses a sort of axis or path which can lead from man's current central position in the intermediate realms of heaven or sub-earthly realms. Thus, in this view, symbolic representations of a vertical axis represents a path of ascent or descent into other spiritual or material realms, and often capture a philosophy that considers human life to be a quest in which one develops insight or perfection in order to move beyond the current microcosm realm and to engage with the grand microcosmic order. In other interpretations, an axis mundi is more broadly defined as a place of connection between heavenly and the earthly realms, often a mountain or other elevated site. Tall mountains were often regarded as sacred, and some have shrines erected at the summit or base. Mount Kunlun or Kunlun fills a similar role in China. Mount Kailash is holy to Hinduism and several religions in Tibet. The Pitjantjara people in Central Australia consider Uluru to be central in both their world and culture. The Titi volcano was for the Canarian Aborigines, that's the Ganges, a kind of axis mundi. In ancient Mesopotamia, the cultures of ancient Sumer and Babylon built tall platforms or ziggurats to elevate temples on the flat river plain. Hindu temples in India are often situated on high mountains, e.g. Amarnath, Tirupati, and Vishnu, Devi, and then etc. The pre-Columbian residents of Teotihuacan in Mexico erected huge pyramids featuring staircases leading to heaven. These Amerindian temples were often placed on top of caves or subterranean springs, which were thought to be openings to the underworld. Jacob's ladder is an Axis Monday image, as is the Temple Mount. For Christians, the cross on Mount Calvary expresses this symbol. The Middle Kingdom, China, had a central mountain, Kunlun, known in Taoist literature as the mountain at the middle of the world. To go into the mountains meant to dedicate oneself to spiritual life. As the abstract concept of Axis Monday is present in many cultural traditions, the religious belief, it can be thought to exist in any number of locales at once. Mount Hermon was regarded as the Axis Mundi in Canaanite tradition, from where the sons of God are introduced, descending in 1 Enoch 6:6. The ancient Armenians had a number of holy sites, the most important of which was Mount Ararat, which was thought to be the home of the gods as well as the center of the universe. Now, Mount Ararat is also where the Christian Bible hints that Noah's Ark landed, by the way. That's just so I can point that out. That's not what I'm reading. So, likewise, the ancient Greeks regarded several sites as a place of earth. Omphalos, the navel stone, notably the Oracle of Delphi, while still maintaining a belief in a cosmic world tree, and in Mount Olympus as the abode of the gods. Judaism has the Temple Mount. Christianity has the Mount of Olives, or Mount Olives, and Calvary, and Islam has the Kaaba, said to be the first building on earth, as well as the Temple Mount, Dome of the Rock. In Hinduism, and Mount Kailash, Mount Kailash is identified with the mythical Mount Meru and regarded as the home of Shiva. In Vajrayana Buddhism, Mount Kailash is recognized as a similarly sacred place. In Shinto, the Issei Shrine is the Omphalos. Sacred places can constitute world centers, with an altar or place of prayer at the axis. Altars, incense sticks, candles, and torches from the axis by sending a column of smoke and prayer toward heaven. It has been suggested by Romanian religious historian Mircea Eliade that architecture of sacred places often reflects this role. Every temple or place, and by extension every sacred city or royal residence, is a sacred mountain, thus becoming a center. Pagoda structures in Asian temples take the form of a stairway linking earth and heaven. A steeple in a church or a minaret in a mosque also serves as connections to earth and heaven. Structures such as the maypole, derived from the Saxon Irminsul, and the totem pole among indigenous people of the Americas also represents world axis. The calumet or sacred pipe represents a column of smoke, the soul, rising from the world's center. A mandala creates a world center within the boundaries of its two-dimensional space, and analogous to the center of space analogous to to that created in three-dimensional space by Shrine. In the classical elements of the Vedic Pancha Bhota, the axis Mundi corresponds to ether in quintessence. Now, after that, I'm going to go ahead and get to the next topic that I do want to talk about. I want to bring it up now, and that is going to be the let me see here. This is a tough one because I do want to go in order a certain way. So the next one is going to be, the next topic I am going to get into is the Agig Iro Fa. Now the Agig Iro Fa, also called the Iletfa, or the Tree of Life, the Vilig Fa, the World Tree, or Tetjetlen Fa, the Tree Without a Top, is an element of Hungarian shamanism and native faith, and a typical element of Hungarian folklore and folktales, and also a distinct folktale type. Several of these tales have versions of the Transylvanian, Germanic, Romanian, Romani, Serbian, Croatian, Bulgarian, and Turkish versions, and other cultures as well that are in Asia. But the origin of the Hungarian tales go back to the Teltos tradition of Hungarians. The Teltosok, or the shamans, are the humans who are entitled to climb up the Igig Fa and wander in the 7 or 9 layers of the sky. One version of these tales is about the Kishkondas, or the small swineherd, who climbs up the tree to save the princess, who is held captive by a dragon, as told by the Vilaguru Svet Miklos tale. Now, the tree is a frequent element of certain funny tales, in which, for example, a gypsy climbs up into heaven and then down into hell. The world tree often grows out of a reindeer or a horse. It often carries among its branches the sun and the moon. This latter concept is typical of Uralic and Siberian people. The tree often stands on the world mountain, with its top in the sky and its roots in hell, where snakes and toads live. In the tales, birds often sit on top of the tree. For example, eagles, hawks, and mythical Hungarian bird, the turtle. Now, I do want to talk about the turtle. That's going to be coming up here very, very soon. So after I'm done here, I am going to go and discuss the turtle with you guys. I believe I already have it. Yeah, I've got it set up here. I just want to make sure that I have it set up and ready to go next. So, and I also want to point out too that when you go and you read these stories, the ones especially about climbing up the tree, that tell me that does not resonate. The beanstalk. That's a classic story that goes back. And I just wanted to point that out. That and that story apparently isn't just a humorous story. It actually goes back all the way to classic times, or ancient times, I guess, if you consider, this stuff as being a part of ancient history. Because I know time's not linear. What's ancient in the Middle East isn't necessarily what's ancient in the Americas. At least I am aware of that. And I'm not saying that everything should be in the BCE area or era, you know what I mean? Because I understand that. So it's just, for me, a preference. It's just the way I feel about it, you know what I mean? Like, ancient times to me is this, and that's basically it. So, but that's something I did want to point out, is the beanstalk. So that really does stick out to you when you go through and you read about this. So the world tree often grows out of a reindeer or a horse. Here lately, I've been noticing that the reindeer is very, very important when it comes to Siberia. The Siberian people, they actually herd reindeers and use them like how most people here would use a horse for a carriage or something. They actually domesticate reindeers and use them the same way. So that's kind of cool, when you stop and think about it. So that's something else that I did want to point out. But I will be getting back to Turl here in a little bit. Now, Hungarian scholarship argues that the Arni Thomas Uther Index tail type AATH 468, a tail type that involves climbing a giant tree, is a reflection of ancient shamanic practices. In particularly, Hungarian American scholar Linda Day, or Dye, or how DEGH, based on an analysis of CA70 variants of Hungary and nearby countries, concluded that the type AATH 468, the tree that reached to the sky, is a Hungarian ethnic tale associated with the prehistoric shamanistic religion of ancient Hungarians and their linguistic kindred. Now, I do want to also get into that. The tree that reaches to the sky actually is also a part of another series. It's called The Giant Who Had No Heart in His Body. That's the one that I really do want to get into. I'm not going to do the tree that reaches to the sky right now, but it is good, or it's worthy to mention that if you want to check this out, this is a really good one. So I just don't want to have a whole conversation about the beanstalk, So the tree that reached to the sky, now that's a Hungarian ethnic tale associated with the prehistoric shamanistic religion of ancient Hungarians and their linguistic kindred. Slavicist Karol Horalek, studying variants of the Arne Thompson Uther Index, tail type ATU 302, Ogre's Heart in the Egg, remarked that a particular Central European, in Hungary and neighboring countries' version of this type shows the hero climbing a giant tree and arriving at a hidden upper realm. After a series of adventures, he marries a princess of this upper realm, and she gives him a set of keys, warning him never to open a certain door. He disobeys her and releases a villain of the tale, an episode very similar to the Russian tale Maria Morevna, Hungarian ethnographer Gyula Ortute was of the opinion that the narrative was a valuable Hungarian tale. On the other hand, Karol Haralek suggests that the narrative developed a Hungarian oikotype with its prominent feature in the tall tree and the actions that surrounded it. According to the scholar Christian Goldberg, further studies of tale type AATH468 using the historical geographic method included that its characteristic motif is a shaman tree. The tale type is not widely known outside of Hungary. It shares episodes with other tale types, namely AT 300-310 or 300 through 310. In the same vein, Linda Day, in her tabulation of all known variations available to her, indicated that Type 46A included in its narrative sequence episodes of a small cycle of other tale types. The Dragon Slayer, Types 300 to 302, the I Don't Know Complex, Types 314, 530, 532, the Bride of the Other World, Type 400, the Magic Flight, Type 300. According to her, combination with Type 301 appears in South Slavic variances, and with Type 400 in Romania. The tree features in an episode in the Hungarian television series Magyar Nemesek, which is the Hungarian folk tales, and then Who, with the title As Igig Iro Fa, the giant tree. So that's what we have there, and I'm going to stop on that topic, and I'm going to go into the turtle. Now, the eagle and the serpent is what I want to stay focused on, and then the world tree, because that stuck out to me whenever I was also studying the Sumerian mythologies and religions. So I do want to bring that up. So the turtle. The turtle is a mythical bird of prey, mostly depicted as a falcon in Hungarian tradition and Turkic tradition, and a national symbol of the Hungarians. The turtle is probably based on a large falcon. The Hungarian language word Turiel meant one kind of falcon, and the origin of the word is currently thought to be most likely Turkic, which is the language of origin of over 10% of words in modern Hungarian lexicon, and the exonym Hungarian in the word Hun, tigris or tugrul, means a medium to large bird of prey of the family Accipitridae, goshawk, or red kite. In Hungarian, the word solyom means falcon. And there are three ancient words describing different kinds of falcons. That is Kerixen, which is in Greek, the sacred falcon. Then Zongor, which is Turkish. Sungur equals girl falcon, or Geyer falcon, which survives in the male name Songor and Turrell. So, excuse me again for my language on this. This is horrible. In the legend of Emis, recorded in the Gesta Hungarorum in the Chronicon Pictum, the Turl is mentioned as occurring in a dream of Emis when she was already pregnant. In older literature, this was interpreted as impregnation, but the text is clear. The Turl's role is one of a protector spirit that protects the infant Almos from harm. This is a very similar motif to the role of the Sumerg in the Iranian epic Shahnameh or Shahnameh. In the second dream by the leader of the Hungarian tribes, in which eagles, the emblem of the Pechenegs, enemies of the Hungarians, attacked their horses, and the Turl came and saved them. The image of the Turl and its role is similar to that of the Norse Vedfalmer, which like it perched on the tree of life. The Huns reportedly also used the image of the eagle, which for them symbolized the leader. The image of a bird of prey was extremely popular in Scythian culture. More broadly, this image was common among the nomads of Central Asia. Rather than belonging to a specific ethnic group, it was widespread across the steppe, and the union of the falcon and the woman is firmly located in a shamanic religio-mythical universe. A prominent example among similar legends is that of the Mongols, contained in the Secret History of the Mongols, where Genghis Khan's mother-in-law dreams that an eagle holding the sun and the moon in its claws lands on her hand, in anticipation of the birth of the Mongolian royal dynasty. In some parts of Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhs and Kyrgyz carry falcons inside the yurt during childbirth, because their eyes are said to stave off demons that attack pregnant women during childbirth. MacDonald calls it a practical use of the falcon associated with fertility. A pair of silver discs of Tyrol motive was found in Rakomov, Hungary, from the 10th century Hungarian cemetery. This most beautiful ornament of noble Hungarian women was a pair of decorated discs hanging from the end of the hairband braid. Now, after that, I do want to get into the Yggdrasil. This is Old Norse. Now, the Yggdrasil is an immense and central sacred tree in Norse cosmology. Around its existence, all else, including the 9 worlds. No, around it exists all else, including the 9 worlds. Yggdrasil is attested in the Poetic Edda, compiled of 13th century from earlier traditional sources, and in the Prose Edda, compiled in the 13th century by Snorri Sturluson. In both sources, Yggdrasil is an immense ash tree that is central to the cosmos and considered very holy. The gods go to Yggdrasil daily to assemble at their traditional governing assemblies. The branches of the Yggdrasil extend far into the heavens, and the tree is supported by 3 roots that extend far away into other locations. One of the well Orelbrunner in the heavens, one to the spring Havergelmer, and another to the well Mimesbrunner. Creatures like the Yggdrasil creatures live within Yggdrasil, including the dragon Niahogr, or Niahogr, an unnamed eagle, and the stags Dine, Valen, and then Dunir, and Durfur. Scholars generally consider Hodmimis, Holt, Mimidior, and Laror to be names for the tree. The tree is an example of sacred trees and groves in Germanic paganism and mythologies, and mythology. And scholars in the field of Germanic philology have long discussed its implications. The generally accepted meaning of Old Norse Yggdrasil is Odin's horse, meaning gallows. This interpretation comes about because Drasil means horse, and Jagr, or Jagr, is one of Odin's many names. The poetic Edda poem Havamal describes how Odin sacrifices himself by hanging from the tree, making this tree Odin's gallows. This tree may have been Yggdrasil. The horse of the hanged is a kinning for gallows, and therefore Odin's gallows may have developed into the expression Odin's horse, which then became the name of the tree. Nonetheless, scholarly opinions regarding the precise meaning of the name Yggdrasil vary, particularly on the issue of whether Yggdrasil is the name of the tree itself, or if only the full term Asker Yggdrasil, where Old Norse Asker means ash tree, refers specifically to the tree. According to this interpretation, Asker Yggdrasil, Asker Yggdrasil would mean the world tree upon which the horse is, which is Odin's horse, of the highest god, which is Odin, is bound. Both of these etymologies rely on a presumed but unattested Yggdrasil. A third interpretation presented by F. Detter is that the name Yggdrasil refers to the word Jagr, which is terror, yet not in reference to the Odinic name, and so Yggdrasil would then mean tree of terror, tree of terror gallows. F.R. Schroeder has proposed a fourth etymology according to which Yggdrasil means yew pillar, Y-E-W, pillar, deriving Yagia from Igwa, meaning yew tree, and Drasil from other, meaning support. Anatoly Lieberman argues that the name Yggdrasil originally refers to Odin's literal horse, later known mainly as Sleipnir. He explains the missings by suggesting that the original compound didn't mean Odin's horse, but Odin horse. The horse shared in the god's essence. This led to the kennings Asker Yggdrasil, literally the ash tree of Odin Horse. But by the conventions of Old Horse poetry, the warrior of Odin Horse, i.e. Odin, Yggdrasil Yggdrasil fell out of use as the name of Odin's horse, leaving the formula Asker Yggdrasil's obscure. It was reinterpreted to refer to the world tree, of which Lieberman believes the Norse had some conception before the name. Yggdrasil was attached to it. Finally, Asker Yggdrasil was simplified to Asker Yggdrasil, i.e., from the ash tree of Yggdrasil to the ash tree called Yggdrasil. In the Poetic Edda, the tree is mentioned in the three poems Voluspa, Havamal, and Grimnismal. Now, in the second stanza of the Poetic Edda poem Voluspa, the Volva, a shamanic seeress, reciting a poem to the god Odin, says that she remembers far back to earlier times. Being raised by Jotner recalls nine worlds and 9 Adior, rendered in a variety of ways by translator Drunky or Drunk, for example, provides 9 wood ogresses. And when Yggdrasil was a seed, glorious tree of good measure under the ground. Now, in stanza 19, the Volva says, "When ash I know there stands, Yggdrasil in its name, a tall tree showered with shining loam. From there come the dews that drip in the valley. It stands forever green over Jordar's well." In stanza 20, the Volva says that from the lake under the tree come 3 maidens deep in knowledge, named Auror, Veroandi, and Skuld. The maidens incised the slip of wood, laid down laws, and chose lives for the children of humanity and the destinies, the Urlog of men. In stanza 27, the Volva details that she is aware that Heimdallar's hearing is coached beneath the bright, nurturing holy tree. In stanza 45, Yggdrasil receives a final mention in the poem. The Volva describes as a part of the onset of Ragnarok that Heimdallar blows Jallar horn, that Odin speaks with Mimir's head, and then Yggdrasil shines the ash as it stands, the old tree groans, and the giant slips free. Havamal. In stanza 138 of the poem Havamal, Odin describes how he once sacrificed himself to himself by hanging on a tree. The stanza reads, "I know that I hang on a wide tree 9 long nights, wounded with the spear dedicated to Odin, myself to myself, on that tree of which no man knows from where its roots run." In the stanza that follows, Odin describes how he had no food nor drink there, that he peered downward, and that I took up the runes, screaming I took them. Then I fell from there. Odin later used the knowledge of the sacred runes as a magical tool to give to humanity to increase human skills in magic and poetry. While Yggdrasil is not mentioned by name in the poem and other trees exist in Norse mythology, the tree is nearly universally accepted as Yggdrasil by scholars. And if the tree is Yggdrasil, then the name Yggdrasil directly relates to this story. Now, I can go on and read more of that, but I believe that I should probably go ahead and read something that pertains to the giant who had no heart in his body. So, this is a Norwegian fairy tale. Now, the giant who had no heart in his body is a Norwegian fairy tale collected by Edgerson and Moe. George MacDonald retold it as The Giant's Heart in Adela Cathcart. A version of the tale also appears in a Book of Giants by Ruth Manning Sanders. The king had seven sons, and when the other six went off to find brides, he kept the youngest with him because he could not bear to be parted from them all. They were supposed to bring back a bride for him as well, but they found a king with 6 daughters and wooed them, forgetting their brother. But when they returned, they passed too close to a giant's castle, and he turned them all, but both princes and princesses, to stone in a fit of rage. When they did not return, the king, their father, tried to prevent the youngest brother from following, but he went. On the way, he gave food to a starving raven, helped a salmon back into the river, and gave a starving wolf his horse to eat. The wolf let the prince ride on him instead of showing him the giant's castle. The wolf let the prince ride on him instead and showed him the giant's castle, telling him to go inside. The prince was reluctant, fearing the wrath of the giant, but the wolf persuaded the prince to enter the castle, for there he would encounter not the giant, but the princess the giant kept prisoner. The princess was very beautiful, and the prince wanted to know how he could kill the giant and set her and his family free. The princess said that there was no way, as the giant did not keep his heart in his body, and therefore could not be killed. When the giant returned, the princess hid the prince and asked the giant where he kept his heart. He told her it was under the door sill. The prince and the princess dug there the next day and found no heart. The princess strewed flowers over the door sill, and when the giant returned, told him that it was because his heart lay there. The giant admitted it was not there and told her it was in the cupboard. As before, the princess and the prince searched to no avail. Once again, the princess strewed garlands of flowers on the cupboard and told the giant it was because his heart was there. Thereupon the giant revealed to her that, in fact, in a distant lake was an island upon which there sat a church. Within the church was a well where a duck swam. In the duck's nest was an egg, and in the egg was the giant's heart. The prince rode to the lake, and the wolf jumped to the island. And the prince called upon the raven, and he had saved. No, and he no. The prince called upon the raven he had saved from starvation, and it brought him the keys to the church. Once inside, he coaxed the duck to him, but it dropped the egg in the well first, and the prince called on the salmon to get him the egg. The wolf told him to squeeze the egg, and when he did, the giant screamed. The wolf told him to squeeze it again, and the giant promised anything if he would spare his life. The prince told him to change his brothers and their brides back to life, and the giant did so. Then the prince squeezed the egg into two and went home with the princess as his bride, accompanying him where his brothers and their brides and the king rejoice. Now, in a harsher version, the boy split the heart in two and eats it with the wolf, chopping off the giant's head and keeping it as a trophy. For international variants, you can also read The Death of Koski the Deathless. The tale was translated as Cinder Lad and His Six Brothers, and included in the compilation Fairy Stories for Children, Love Best of All. The Hungarian variant of the tale was adapted into an episode of the Hungarian television show Magyar Mesek, the Hungarian Folk Tales, who, with the title Kazuzu Ember, the man with a heart of stone. In this version, three brothers depart home and arrive at a cottage where an old man lets them spend the night. When they leave the next day, the old man asks them to find him a bride. The brothers go to a kingdom and marry three princesses. On their way back, the couples pass by an old man's cottage. He petrifies 5 of them and takes the youngest princess for his wife. He reveals to her his heart is located inside a bird inside a mountain far away. Years later, a boy is born to the mother of the brothers and leaves home to find their whereabouts. On his way, he shares his food with a ram and a dove, which in return give him a hair and feather to summon the animals should the boy need. The story was retold by John Hurt as an episode of Jim Henson's The Storyteller. It takes a sadder tone as the prince befriends the giant after freeing him from years of captivity in his father's castle, and after journeying to the mountain to get the egg and eventually releasing his brothers, beseeches them not to break the egg containing the giant's heart, as he promised now to be good. The brothers break the heart, and the hill forms where the giant falls. So, let me see. I think that would be just enough to cover what I wanted to go over with this. I did want to get more involved in it, but like I said, this was kind of off the cuff. I really wanted to get into this on some other in some other areas and everything. You know what I mean? So I apologize for that. Maybe sometime later I can revisit this and everything. But I just find this interesting. This has a lot of Jack and Beanstalk. It's very good stuff, and I figured it would be worth checking out and kind of getting into. I also want to get more into the stories when it comes to Odin and things of that nature, the Nordic mythologies. But mostly I do want to get into the Indo-European language and explore that more. So I do have a lot more that I am going to be a part of when it comes to doing the research on this, and I really do hope you guys enjoyed this. I still apologize about my bad reading. I really wish I could read this stuff better where it sounds good. So if you guys enjoyed this, just leave a like, subscribe to the channel, make comments, talk about this stuff in the comment section so that I can actually have a conversation with you. I really do enjoy doing that with people. So just remember that if you want to have conversations about it, feel free to say something, because I do actually respond to people when it comes to the comments. So with that, I am going to end it now. I checked the chat areas. I didn't have any comments from anybody, so that's a good thing. That means I can get the hell out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and with that, I am going to go ahead and end